Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So I have been playing with the power tools again and I have made myself a fun festive DIY. So I had seen loads of Christmas tree advent calendars in the shops and on Pinterest as well, and I was like, I can definitely have a go at making this myself. So I had half of a pallet. If you remember my pallet teacup bird feeder from during the summer, well, I used the other half of that pallet. It was like lying by my shed and I was like, okay, I need some wood for this DIY. So I decided to use the wood from that pallet and I recycled. So pretty much this DIY kind of cost me nothing really. Don't worry if you don't have any power tools, because I've seen people make these Christmas trees and instead of using a drill and screws, they use wood glue. And instead of using, I got a new jigsaw. So I got a new tool, ladies. So I have a electric saw added to my power tool collection. But don't worry if you don't have an electric saw, you can just get a hand saw. Just be so careful when you're using tools, or you could ask somebody to cut the wood for you. So I hope you like my little festive advent calendar tree. What have we got? Have we got 2 weeks before we can use it? 2 weeks, I think, from when I upload this, we can start using the advent calendars. So let's get into the video and I will show you how I made my advent calendar Christmas tree. Here is the other half of the wood palette. It is full of bugs, but the wood is good. Now I have a hammer with the thing, but the wood is actually, the nails are coming out, so if I gently lift it slowly, it's coming out, and then I'm just going to hammer the nails down or remove them. But this wood is perfect. It's also not wet, but I'm gonna leave it inside to dry for a few days before using it for this project. But this is my free wood, everybody. I'm also gonna use that piece here for the back of the tree, and this big chunk of wood at the bottom, that's gonna be perfect for keeping it to stand up. So I don't really have to do too much sawing, I don't think, because I'm gonna just measure them to size. Like, that'll be the longest piece. Shorter, so I'll only have to cut this side, if that makes any sense. So this is my wood before. So not really pretty, something that people would probably just use in a fire or throw out, but I will make this pretty. For this project, I use my jigsaw to cut the wood. Don't worry if you don't have an electric saw, you can use a hand saw to cut your pieces of wood to size. Using my drill and some screws, I applied 2 screws to each plank of wood. There is roughly about 2 inches in between each plank of wood as well. As always, Blondie was on hand to give her quality control and make sure that my Christmas tree was up to scratch. You'll notice that I put a bottom piece to the bottom. This was just so it wouldn't topple over. So you can get creative with putting a bottom on, but that worked for me. As the pallet wood can be quite coarse and a little bit splintery, I decided to give my whole piece a sanding down just to make it smoother, because there was a lot of rough edges and kind of splinters on the edge. So I gave it a full sanding with I think I used the 120 grit paper to begin with, and then I used a finer grit to smooth it off. So this is my tree just after I have sanded it. So I just dusted off any of the dust from sanding and I gave it a wipe down before I painted it. I used just some normal white chalk paint to paint it. You will notice that the palette wood is quite absorbent. If your chalk paint is too thick, just add a bit of water to make it easier to apply. I just gave this 1 coat because I wanted to keep the detail of the wood. So 1 coat was enough for this project. picked up some pegs from that shop that I cannot pronounce, Sostringrenner, I think is how it's pronounced. I gave them a light spray of some bright gold spray paint. You can't really notice it, but I left them clipped on the card and I just gave them a spray of gold spray paint. Now for my stockings, I was gonna make some paper bags to use to put all the gifts into, but I remembered last year I bought this garland. So I got this garland in TK Maxx. So what I did was I unpicked it and I took every single sock off of it, and I'm using these socks for the pouches for my project. To help me get an idea on where to place the pegs, I laid out the socks and I just kind of measured out. There's roughly like an inch between each sock, but I just wanted to measure out and see before I place the pegs on. Once I was happy with the positioning of each sock, I got my trusty Gorilla Glue. Now I just had run out of glue sticks for my hot glue gun. A hot glue gun will be perfect for this. So I just stuck on each of the pegs with a little bit of glue and I let them fully dry. I had gotten one of the L'Occitane advent calendars at a Christmas press day from earlier in autumn. I think it was September time. So Blondie is just helping me take all of the pieces out. So I'm using the L'Occitane gift set for the goodies for my advent calendar, and this advent calendar I'm going to be bringing into work for the girls in work so they can have some little treats, because where we work at Christmas it is so busy. So I'm giving this to them as a little treat. I also just added a set of battery pack lights. I got these from Penny's or Primark, and I just added some lights just to give it a little bit of twinkle, as it is a Christmas tree after all, and this is my finished tree. So that is my tree, everybody. I hope you like it. It actually only took me, I'm gonna say 4 hours to make, and a lot of that was like waiting for my paint to dry. If you use the wood glue, you'll have to wait a little bit longer for the wood glue to dry. So it took me like 4 hours start to finish, which I don't think is too bad, and I had plenty of cups of tea in between. I'm bringing my advent calendar into work because where I work it's really crazy this time of year. So December 1st I'm going to bring it into work for all the girls to open up, because I obviously know what's in the advent calendar, and I have lots of the kind of L'Occitane products. So I thought when I got that advent calendar gift set at the press evening, I said I'm going to bring this into work and share it with the girls. What I might also do is I might write, that's the fun thing about making your own advent calendars, you can put whatever you want in them. So I think I might write either like a funny joke to pop into the little socks, or maybe a funny task for them to do on that day, something that will create a memory. So you can get really creative with these DIY calendars. Let me know, what would you put inside your advent calendar? comment below. Would you do it like food related, maybe gift related? Would you put fun memories in it? Let me know, comment below. So that is this week's video, guys. I hope you liked it. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you're new to my channel, just hit that subscribe button, and yeah, stick around. You guys can catch me also during the week on Instagram. I'll pop my handle here. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in next week's video. Bye.